Hey guys, so I'm driving the 23 CX50 and I kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on what's going on. I've had the car now for about 6 months, and in my 10,000 mile a year lease, I am approaching 10,000 miles in 6 months. So I'm doing a lot of driving on this vehicle. With that, I actually took it on a trip to Tucson this past weekend, and I kind of wanted to talk about that because I literally will say this is my second favorite car to road trip in. The first one was my 2000 Honda Accord, but that's because, of course, I loved that car to pieces. But with this particular vehicle, this is my close second here. In fact, it even kind of goes neck and neck with the Accord just because it did that well. My partner is up there somewhere in his Subaru Ascent, which that's also a good road trip car. It's not my favorite car to drive, though. I actually personally find it more comfortable to be a passenger in that vehicle. And it's funny because when I have somebody in the front seat or wants to sit in the front, for example, I'll sit in the center seats and just kind of recline. So I like that Ascent for road trips as well, and that's normally the one that we do take. But I took this trip solo, and I kind of wanted to see how this car would do because honestly, I intend on buying this car. So I kind of wanted to see what I was going to be working with. So I took it on a trip to go see my best friend and take him out to dinner. And I will say that it did a great job. The gas mileage on it was excellent. I was able to get from Boulder City to Tucson without stopping in one tank. So that's about 380 miles. And then I was able to actually, I filled up halfway or about a quarter of the way in coming back because I wanted to have some gas left over for the week. But right now I am at 311 miles on this tank, and I haven't even hit 1/4 tank yet. To put it into perspective, if I had done this in my 2020 Hyundai Tucson, I would have had to fill up halfway each time, and then I still would have been at a 1/4 tank by the end of the trip. So unfortunately, that car just wasn't great on gas. It was comfortable, but it wasn't great on gas. This car meets the comfort requirements for me, plus the heated seats on these things will melt your back off, and honestly, really good if you have back pain. But I did find this to be not only a comfortable ride, but it was also a lot more economical. With also driving this, this is kind of what my trip would have looked like, just a whole glob of nothing. It was not too bad, even just to have the radio off and listen to the noise. And literally, honestly, I like a little bit of road noise in a vehicle. So this car definitely, it was very comfortable for me. I was able to send text messages and such, of course, over voice dictation. None of that was stopped because it doesn't use the touch screen. Unless if you set it up to do it that way. Honestly, I personally don't like the touch screen because my screen remains clean. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So as you can see now, it's saying I need a service, but I'm going to get that done in a couple days. I have about 500 miles left, but the car warns me early. But I was able to get about 33 to 34 miles a gallon, so not bad. And especially with it only being a 6-speed, honestly, I kind of do wish I would have an 8-speed in this car. But with it only having a 6-speed and with actually a higher final drive ratio than that of my Tucson, this again did much better in terms of economy-wise. Seats are comfortable. With that, I do have that pleatherette stuff on the sides. Unfortunately, it is starting to wrinkle on the driver's side, which is kind of annoying, but I know it's normal. But I'm gonna see what they can do on Thursday to maybe look into heat treating it or something to try to get some of those wrinkles out. But yeah, otherwise it did well. In terms of the adaptive cruise control, honestly, that stuff, it's very comfortable to use. The only thing I didn't like, though, is that when you would switch lanes and you were going too slow, the car definitely wants to try to get you back up to speed. And it does so by basically accelerating it at full throttle. So it wasn't necessarily my favorite in that regard, but if you're using the adaptive cruise control and kind of just adjusting speed accordingly, the car does a good job. And it does a good job in trailing the car in front of you. And honestly, when I did get stuck in a little bit of traffic, I did notice that using it definitely lessened the fatigue that you get with driving. And you don't really think about it until you've done the trip with cruise control and done the trip without cruise control. You're a little more tired when you're doing it all yourself, which I don't mind doing. I did it with my Honda for years and my other 3 cars, but it was just nice to have that luxury, especially since I was going a little bit of a further distance alone. in terms of the suspension, I will say it was a little bit stiffer, and with a lot of the potholes that happen in Arizona, you do feel them, but it feels sturdy, and that honestly is a little bit more important to me because I'd rather have a stiffer suspension and the vehicle feel planted than too light on its feet and floaty. And when I did take my stepfather's old Chevrolet Impala on a trip, that definitely was a very floaty vehicle, and honestly at times it actually made me a little car sick. So this was overall nice. With that, I will be having another car on the channel at some point. We did lose a car, unfortunately. The 2016 Dodge Charger SRT 392 is no longer part of the family. Not by choice. Unfortunately, someone decided to take the vehicle from the 4th floor of the parking garage at my mom's job. And unfortunately, it has not been found, so it is now a loss. So rest in pieces, or wherever you are, 2016 Charger 392. I am sorry this happened because my mother really loved that car, and she was very upset to see it go. So we are looking into like either a Mazda CX50. We looked at a Toyota Corolla, or not a Corolla, excuse me, a Toyota Sequoia. But those things are freaking expensive. So kind of had to be realistic with expectations. And she got into a CX90 and she really likes it. So we'll see what happens in that regard. My Mazda 6 will be ready at some point. It's a 2012 Mazda 6 iSport, 6-speed manual. It is awaiting a heart transplant down in Arizona, actually where I was. The friend that I took out to dinner to go visit for his birthday, he's actually the one that is putting the new heart in my vehicle. Long story short, I was actually driving that one back from Tucson, and the engine exploded about a third of a way into the trip, so it needs a new heart. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. I'm way over mileage on this lease, but I will be buying the car. Also, as a side note, I'm really pissed because yes, I was able to do 400 miles each way. No rock chips. I get here back to Vegas and I'm driving on my way to work this morning, and I get 8 different rock chips in my back driver's side door after there were just rocks sprayed all over the road from God knows what, and everybody was running over them and throwing them at the car. So yeah, that's kind of where we were at. Let it be known, Dr. Color Chip really does a good job. So that's that. But in terms of other updates, I still have to get my sister's RAV4 on the channel. It's just been a little while. I'm doing medical school applications, so I am just kind of hanging back and working a lot, and I have my first medical school interview this upcoming Wednesday. But yeah, my sister's RAV4 will be on the channel at some point. Her Camry is still alive. The Expedition's still alive. My grandparents' 07 Camry needed a new timing cover gasket, so that was done. And then, yeah, that's basically where we are at. So in the meantime, this is the CX50. And honestly, the Preferred Plus trim was all I really needed. And it literally just does a phenomenal job. I really like this vehicle. So I don't intend on getting anything new for a very long time. After being in Hyundais for a few years, I'm finally glad to be back in a Japanese vehicle. Nothing against like the Korean car manufacturers or anything of that sort. They just weren't my cup of tea. They weren't like fun vehicles for me. But there are fun vehicles that are out there. The Elantra N, for example, and now the Ioniq 5 and 6. Honestly, those EVs are really nice and very comfortable. It's just I personally did not want to go the Hyundai Kia route again. I wanted something that I wanted something that was Japanese in nature, whether it had been a Subaru, Mazda, Toyota, or Honda. They've always treated me really well. So in that case, we'll go ahead and let you go for now. But thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions or anything of that sort, please do not hesitate to reach out. And we will talk soon. Have a great one.